Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanodari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanodari Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanodari Sodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Pravijakachaya Asatusata Shishimad His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananda Guravaiswani ki jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Prem Zago, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Govindam, Samakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Sri Vrindavandam ki jai, Sri Maya Pranavadam ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Go Premanandi. All glories some devotees, all glories some devotees, all glories some devotees, all glories, Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, text number 1, right? We're starting a new chapter. Prachina Barhir Uvacha Bhagavans Te Vacho Smabhir Na Samyag Avagamate Kavayas Tad Vijhananti Na Vayam Karma Mohita Prachinabar Hiruvacha Bhagavans Te Vacho Smadbhir Na Samyag Avagamyate Kavayastad Vijhananti Navayam Karma Mohitaha Prachinabahiruvacha Bhagavans Te Vacho Smabhir Na Samyag Avagamyate Kavayastad Vijhananti Navayam Karma Mohitaha Prachinabahiruvacha Bhagavans Te Vacho Smabhir Na Samyag Avagamyate Kavayastad Vijhananti Navayam Karma Mohitaha. Prachinabahiruvacha Bhagavans Te Vacho Smabhir Prachinabahiruvacha King Prachinabarhi said, Bhagavan, O my Lord, Te, your, Vacha, words, Asmabhi, by us, Na, never, Samyak, perfectly, Avagamyate, are understood, Kavaya, those who are expert, Tat, that, Vijhananti, can understand, Na, never, Payam, we, Karma, by fruit of activities, Mohita, enchanted. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki. King Prachinabarhi replied, My dear Lord, we could not appreciate completely the purport of your allegorical story of King Puranjana. Actually, those who are perfect in spiritual knowledge can understand, but for us who are overly attached to fruitive activities, to realize the purpose of your story is very difficult. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 7.13, the Lord says, Shribhir Gunamayir Bhavar Ebhi Sarvam Idang Jagat Mohitam Nabhijananti Mam Ebhya Param Avyayam. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Generally, people are enchanted by the three modes of material nature, and therefore practically unable to understand that behind all materialistic activities in the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Generally, when people are engaged in sinful or pious activities, they are not perfect in knowledge of devotional service. The allegorical story narrated by Narada Muni to King Parisman is especially meant to engage conditioned souls in devotional service. The entire story narrated allegorically, The entire story, narrated allegorically, is easily understood by a person in devotional service, but those who are engaged not in devotional service but in sense gratification cannot perfectly understand it. That is admitted by King Bhishman. This 29th chapter describes that by too much attachment for women, one becomes a woman in the next life. But a person who associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representatives becomes free from all material attachments and is thus liberated. Om Jnana Timanandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshum Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kotavatalam Pangundang Hayate Garim Yat Kripa Tadaham Bande Shigarum Dinataranam Vanchakapa Chibhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Bodhitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Here King Bhishman is admitting that he couldn't appreciate the allegorical story by Narada Muni. And this is a big problem in the material world in general, especially in Kali Yuga. A big lack of appreciation. Someone's doing you a big favor, but don't appreciate it. Just like there was one disciple, Srila Prabhupada, who complained that Prabhupada wasn't given a high process. He said, I want to chant 64 rounds a day, but you're only saying 16. Prabhupada, well, I'm not saying you can't chant 64 rounds, you could chant 64 rounds. But he complained, but the minimum is 16. And he would go and he would hear from other people in Vrindavan, and gradually he left Krishna consciousness. Now, there's a lot of Prabhupada's disciples couldn't appreciate what Prabhupada had given and left, gave up Krishna consciousness for various reasons. But appreciation is it's a big thing, and also amongst Prabhupada's godbrothers. And Prabhupada did what was predicted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Priti Vityacha Yatandakaradigram Sarvatarpatoya Morinam, that the name of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be distributed to every town and village throughout the world. It hadn't been done, but Prabhupada did it. And his godbrothers, they found fault. So many in India, so many the Brahmins, they were, oh, you're degrading the whole Brahminical system by initiating these mlechas and yavanas into brahmanas. So Prabhupada said, wherever you have a lot of success, there will be enemies. As soon as you have success or even a position, you get enemies. So what does it mean to have an enemy or to have a friend? It's found in one's behavior. If you have a friend, then you'll see by his behavior that he's your friend. Right? He'll do things to help you, and he'll be friendly to you. But if someone is your enemy, he'll do things to harm you. Even some of his Prabhupada's godbrothers, they try to sabotage the whole society. Yeah. It's a big problem. Very disturbing to Prabhupada. But he said in retaliation of this, I'm not a man to be discouraged easily. He was a fighter. Prabhupada was a real fighter. So even though he had so many enemies, still he pushed on with great courage. Prabhupada said a devotee means to have the courage of a British soldier and the heart of a Bengali mother. I guess Bengali mothers are pretty affectionate, huh? We have a Bengali. The heart of a Bengali mother and the courage of a British soldiers. They're also pretty courageous. It's like there was one, I forgot the name of it, there was one battle between the British and I think the Muslims. But it was like practically 10 against 1. It was just the odds were so small that the British would win in this little battle. But there was one writer, he wrote a poem. Ours is not to question why, but to do and to die. Became a famous little part for the British. Ours is not to question why, but to do and to die. Ready to die for their country. Very courageous. Yeah. So Prabhupada wanted us to also be courageous, determined to serve Krishna, to give our life to Krishna. This is the way to show our appreciation to Prabhupada, is to give our life to him. And either we're going to give our life to Krishna, or we give our life to Maya. Practically everybody is giving their life to Maya now, throughout the world, throughout the creation practically. So to give our life to Krishna, that's very auspicious. Yeah. This means that we become our friend. We can be our own enemy. Uradatmanatmanam natmanam avasarya. Krishna says that one must elevate oneself. What is it? What's it? Do you know the translation of that? It could be the greatest friend. How's it? How does it start though? One must deliver himself with the help of his mind, not degrade himself. The mind can be the friend or the enemy as well. So the mind is our friend when it's thinking of how to do things that are beneficial for me. Now, of course, the most beneficial thing for anyone is to serve Krishna. This is the most beneficial thing we can do for ourselves. But if we do things that are detrimental, which cause harm in our spiritual life, then we become our own enemy. So, therefore it's so important that we associate with devotees, we associate with Srila Prabhupada through reading his books, that we associate with Krishna, of course, by reading the scriptures. And by this association, we get purified, and we become our own friend instead of our enemy. So this life that we have is not a long life. Even if someone lives to be 100 years, what's 100 years? It's just a moment. So we should try to give this life to Krishna. Yeah. Of course, Maya is doing her preaching also. Krishna's preaching. Maya's also preaching. And she's good. She's very good. She enchants practically everybody. Yeah. By her preaching. By her way of distracting the living entity. But Krishna, he is so much more attractive than Maya. Because Maya just presents an illusion, which doesn't bring satisfaction to the soul. But Krishna, he presents the reality that we're the eternal servants of him, the Supreme Lord. And by this service, we experience real happiness, not this illusory, this Maya Sukhaya. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's stated, Maya Mugdha Jiver Nahi Swata Krishna Gyan Jiver Kapoya Koi Krishna Veda Paran. That the living entity cannot revive his Krishna consciousness on his own. Therefore Krishna comes and he gives us the Vedic literatures. And we become enchanted by the knowledge. I remember the first time I read the Bhagavad Gita, I was totally enchanted. I was completely amazed. I was like, wow, this is the highest knowledge. Yeah. So Krishna's words are very powerful. Yeah. And therefore, he comes and he speaks. And he leaves this knowledge with us, so that fortunate souls can take advantage of this great knowledge. So he's so kind that he helps us out of this enchanting material energy. He's so kind. He sends Srila Prabhupada. He gives us so many ways in which we can become attached to him. Here in the last part of this purport, Prabhupada mentions that we become attached to things in this world. So many things in this world, and whatever we're thinking of, that's what we're attached to. So therefore we've been given this wonderful mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, to help us remember Krishna. And if we hear nicely, eventually we'll become attached to hearing the name of Krishna, and get a taste for hearing the name of Krishna and the philosophy of Krishna consciousness and hearing the glories of Krishna. So this is what we want. We want to become attached to Krishna. Yeah. And Krishna says, Yam bladva chaparam labdham manyate narikam yasman stita nadukena gunapi vacharyate. That having gained this Krishna consciousness, one feels that there's nothing greater to gain. And although engaged in all different types of activities, he's never entangled. So this is the greatest gain that we can achieve, this Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is so kind. We should appreciate his kindness and his giving this enchanting process. It's described, I was just reading yesterday, that devotional service is compared to an ocean of the nectar of devotion in which the devotee wants to swim. And the material happiness is like a smelly, dirty water in a ditch. So we can either swim in the nectarine ocean of devotional service, or we get stuck in a smelly, dirty ditch. So this is the material world. It's not nice. Yeah. It appears nice. Maya is very enchanting. It appears nice. But actually, when you go deep in this ditch, it's terrible. It's terrible. But in the beginning, it appears so nice. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the mode of passion, it's just like nectar in the beginning. And then it becomes like poison. Yeah. But in spiritual life, it's poison in the beginning. It's kind of interesting. It's poison in the beginning, and then it becomes like nectar. Yeah. So this is the nectar that everyone is looking for. This desire to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. Yeah. This is a great achievement. Everybody wants to achieve something great, right? Especially people want to get a lot of money, big house, nice, expensive car, right? Beautiful wife or handsome husband. People want to get something great like this. But there's a problem with all these things. They're all ephemeral. They're all temporary. So they don't satisfy the soul. But Krishna's eternal. And he's a reservoir of pleasure. So by connecting to Krishna, we achieve satisfaction. Yeah. So much satisfaction that a real devotee, will give up anything to achieve that service to Krishna. Yeah. Just like there's that amazing story of Sanatana Goswami, and this one person who was worshipping Lord Shiva. He wanted to achieve something great. He wanted a lot of money. So he was worshipping Lord Shiva very nicely. And he pleased Lord Shiva, so Lord Shiva appeared to him. You pleased me, what is it you want? I want wealth. Okay. What kind of wealth do you want? Material or spiritual? Material wealth. I want a lot of material wealth. Okay. When you go to Vrindavan, and you'll see a person there, you'll find a person there named Sanatana Goswami, he'll satisfy your desire. So he went to Vrindavan, in ecstasy. Now I'm going to become very wealthy. So he asked around, he found Sanatana Goswami. He said, I've been worshipping Lord Shiva for wealth, and he told me to go to you. I want material wealth. I want a lot of wealth. He said, all right. If you go to that rubbish pile there, you're going to find a touchstone. Or sometimes they call it a philosopher's stone. And if you touch iron with that touchstone, then it turns into gold. You'll become very wealthy. He's very excited. Oh. So he went and he found this. And he, very happy, he was appreciative. He appreciated Sanatana Goswami's getting this for him. So he went and he became very wealthy. Very wealthy. Big mansion, so much facility for sense gratification. But after years, he wasn't happy. With all this material wealth, he wasn't happy. So then he started thinking, Sanatana Goswami, he left that touchstone, something so valuable, in the rubbish, a pile of rubbish. Maybe he has something that'll actually make me happy. So he went back to Vrindavan. And he said, Sanatan, Goswami, thank you so much for giving me this, but it didn't make me happy. So Sanatan Goswami, you want to be happy? He said, do you want to be happy? Yes, I want to be happy. Do you have the touchstone? Yeah. Throw it in the river. So he did that. He threw it in the river. And he came back, please, give me that which will actually make me happy. He gave him the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he went off chanting Hare Krishna. So this is the real happiness of the soul, to chant the holy names. And therefore Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. So if we chant Hare Krishna, we hear the glories of Krishna, then we'll get purified. So this material life it's nothing compared to spiritual life. What to speak of being in the spiritual world? This is our goal, to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. Can't compare. I mean, it's the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. No one talks there. Everyone sings. No one walks, everyone dances. And there's Kalpavriksha trees. And there's Surabhi cows. Just like when we want to eat something, there's a big endeavor. You got to. It's like we're going to have this Sankirtan festival, and it's going to be a good endeavor to cook it all up and have a nice feast. But with these Kalpavriksha trees, anything you want. You want eggplant parmesan? It'll come right off the tree. Yeah? Ladus and malpur, samosas, pakoras, all kinds, anything you want, come off this tree. Or the cow, surabhi, anything we want. Yeah. Now what's most attractive in the spiritual world is Krishna. Krishna is there. So this is the goal, to achieve Krishna. But to achieve Krishna there in the spiritual world, we have to achieve Krishna here first. Yeah. And we're very fortunate, and we should be very appreciative of the latest incarnation of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaur Say Namah. He is the most munificent incarnation of Krishna because he's freely giving out love for Krishna. And there's a couple amazing pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and dogs. When he was a child, he and his friends found some puppies. So Lord Chaitanya, he kept one of these puppies. And they were playing with the puppies, his friends, and one of the boys got angry and went off and he told Mother Sachi, you know, your Nimai, he's playing with a puppy. And she became so upset. Oh no. So when she found Nimai, why are you playing with this puppy? You're a Brahmana boy, people are gonna talk, this dogs are moochie, it's not good, please don't do this. But Lord Chaitanya, he became attached to this little puppy. So he started saying, no, Mata, please, this is my puppy, please, don't take him away. So he started, feigning, disturbance, crying. So she said, yeah, you go bathe in the Ganges, that's okay. And he said, you'll keep my puppy here, right? You're not going to send him away? No, I'll keep your puppy. So then he left, and sure enough, she sent the puppy away. He was so upset when he came back and saw the puppy was gone. So some days later, some of the residents of this village, they saw this puppy chanting Hare Krishna. And he was standing, he was chanting Hare Krishna. His hairs are standing on end. His body was quivering. He went back to Godhead. Puppy. And then that other pastime with the dog, what was it? Shivananda Sain. He was going to Jagannath Puri with all the devotees. And somehow they found this dog started following them. So he was a very conscientious devotee. So he decided to take care of he joined us, so he decided to take care of the dog and let him join the party. Yeah. In India, dogs aren't like our dogs here. Not at all. Here the dogs are groomed and taken care of. There's even dog restaurants, and you can go and get you get your dog, his hair done and all kinds of. It's insane. But they're the street dogs. Sometimes you look at them. There's so many diseases. But he took responsibility to take care of this dog. He would feed the dog, and when they had to cross a river, the boatman wouldn't take the dog across, so he had to pay some extra to get it across. And then he had to go somewhere, and he told his men, make sure you take care of the dog, feed him nicely. But then when he got back, the dog was gone. He got upset. He took a search team, a search team to find the dog. The dog had been offended or something. It's like amazing. So responsible. He thought this is a soul that joined our party. So they didn't find the dog. He was upset. But then somehow the dog made it to Jagannath Puri and made it to Lord Chaitanya's room. And Lord Chaitanya was throwing prasadam to him. And he was catching it and eating it. Also went back to Godhead. So there's hope there. Lord Chaitanya is so merciful. Lord Chaitanya's devotees are so merciful that even dogs go back to Godhead. So that means there's hope for us. That dogs can get purified and go back to Godhead. There's hope that we can get purified and go back to Krishna. But we have to pray to become enchanted by Krishna. This reminds me of a book distribution experience I had. We were at a concert, and at all concerts there's people that go around and they're selling tickets for the next concert. So this guy's going around shouting, "Hey, got your next ticket here, come and get your next ticket for the next show." So I shouted at him, "I got a ticket for you back to the spiritual world, the kingdom of God." He said, "Nah, I'm not interested in that." And then he went on selling his tickets. And then he came back. He's still going around selling his tickets. And then he came back to the van. There's a few of us there, 4 or 5 devotees. And he came over to me and he says, "Show me what you got. Let me see what you got." So I showed him the Bhagavad Gita. And he became enchanted by the Bhagavad Gita. Such nice pictures, So he gave a nice donation. Took a Bhagavad Gita. And then he said, "Who knows? Maybe in the future I'll join you guys and sell these tickets." Sell these better tickets, back to the spiritual world. So, I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he did. Maybe he did join us. I don't know. It's only a matter of time. So, we have to distribute these tickets. These tickets that are invitations, actually. Krishna's inviting the living entity back to the spiritual world. He's inviting us back to where there's Vaikuntha, there's no anxiety, and letting us know that this material world is not a nice place. It's a smelly ditch. Why waste our time? And the material world is like that. It stinks. There's so many smells. Of course, I lived in LA for a long time. A lot more smells there. Terrible smells. SanDiego's a little cleaner, but it's a stinky place. It smells. Yeah. Not just material things, but the people's consciousness. Stinks. Yeah. So we're trying to purify the consciousness. Yeah. Fragrance. Yeah. Fragrant devotional consciousness. There's one purport Prabhupada says that I can remember that. The fragrance of a flower catches the smelling ability of a person as he's going by. It's like like these night blooming jasmines. You're walking by. In LA, we have these incredible night blooming jasmines. You're like 50 feet away from them, and they're so fragrant, and your sense of smell gets captured when you go by. It's like, whew, wow. So similarly, Krishna becomes captured by the devotion of the devotee. He catches the scent of the devotion of the devotee, and Krishna, he becomes captured by that devotion. And so, therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, we should act in such a way that Krishna, he wants to see us. He gets captured by the devotion of the devotee. Yeah, it's like Prabhupada did so many amazing things. You can imagine how pleased Krishna was with Prabhupada. So many pure devotees. So Krishna gets captured by their devotion. So this is possible. We have to pray for this devotion for Krishna. So, is there any question or comments?
I have 2 questions and a comment.
Okay. Oh, it's not on. Here.
You can actually hear it online. It's a weird and interesting feature. Okay, Hare Krishna. People will, just as a sidelight, you were talking about dogs, and there's the famous Hari Ram in New Vrindavan. Beat up dog, abandoned, showed up. This dog would come, and you can ask Koladri, you can ask the devotees who were around. He would show up every evening for the arti, stand outside, but the far out thing about Hari Ram is when the leader was singing for kirtan, he put his head down, shake his head. He was relishing. And then when the devotees would respond, he'd ow, 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 and then he would stop and listen to this and shake his head. Listen, he was a devotee. So there it is, Hari Ram. But my question was, you were saying that the happiness in the material world is ephemeral. Okay, fine, I'll accept that. But you're Hare Krishna. Happiness is the same thing. You've fixed your mind that there's some Krishna, there's some back home, back to Godhead, and you're relishing something, but you have troubles, you have difficulties, you have disappointments, you guys get sick, you guys have difficulties, you have crises of faith. So how are you, you've just labeled it. Your experience is the same as ours. Hey, I go to a concert and relish it, I have my, so you've just labeled it as something permanent and lasting and non-material. But I see that it's the same as what we're experiencing. It's just a mental adjustment, you guys.
Yes.
You're old, you get disease,
Yeah.
you die.
I don't die. You don't die.
We all die. We all have the equal experience, you just labeled it as something.
Yes, the materialists, they have faith in sense gratification. They have great faith that by engaging in sense gratification, I'll be happy. And we also have faith. We have faith in the words of Krishna, in the words of Srila Prabhupada, that if we chant Hare Krishna, we engage in devotional service, we will attain that spiritual, that eternal happiness. You know, sometimes, people, they say, yeah, that's just, blind faith. But there's also blind doubt. Yeah. People doubt the revealed scriptures or something. But this is also blind. Investigate. If people investigate, if they read Prabhupada's books, if you read Prabhupada's books, you'll gain great faith that by engaging in devotional service, we will experience that that happiness that we're searching for, and devotees are experiencing. Otherwise, why would we continue doing what we're doing? Yeah, there's some phalina parichiyate. There's some result. We're experiencing some result from engaging in devotional service. So yeah, you could either have faith in Krishna, or we could have faith in Maya. But we see amazing, wonderful results. Devotees now been chanting Hare Krishna for over 50 years. There must be some happiness there, right? Otherwise, how can it's 2 hours a day? That's not. There must be something there. That's a big chunk of a person's day to just sit and chant. There must be something there, and to engage in devotional service throughout the day. There's something there. Yeah. It's not nothing. We wouldn't be doing all this for nothing. There's no happiness. Why would we do so many? Waking up at, sometimes 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Why would we do that? We're not getting some higher taste. Higher taste must be there. Is that okay?
You can also make the argument that we've given up all those things.
Yeah.
How is it we've given up the essence of the thing, either sex or subtle sex, profit, adoration, distinction? And like you gave the example of Sanatana Goswami, we don't even care for these things. So how is that if we're not getting a higher taste? The other thing I was thinking is that Prabhupada, and I heard Prabhupada give this answer, the man kept saying, you're all dreaming, you're all dreaming, you're all dreaming. You've just, whatever. So Prabhupada said, fine. If there's no absolute truth, there's no permanent, eternal reality, then everybody has a dream. We're all in our own little silos. We've all got our own little dreams. Fine. Well, let's analyze. Your dream is fraught with anxiety and fear, and even if it's just a dream, ours is a very nice dream. We're free from anxiety. We're free from fear. Okay, fine. And obviously I don't mean this. Okay, you're looking at a stone statue and you think that's actually God. Even if it's not true, it's a great relationship. We think Krishna's inspiring, Krishna's talking to us. So if it's all a dream, then it doesn't really matter which dream you believe. What's the best dream? So we have the best dream. So Prabhupada said, even if we're wrong, still we're right. Because of all the dreams, we've got the best dream. So Prabhupada said, even if we're wrong, we're right. And then Prabhupada said, but what if we're right, sir? There is Krishna, there's back home, back to Godhead, and you miss the boat. Then Prabhupada said, then we're really right, and you, sir, are really, really wrong. So either way, the devotees are right. Which I thought was quite a blissful answer.
That's pretty good. This is similar to Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager? What is it? There's 4 ways that one can go. That you could believe in God and serve God. you could not believe in God, not serve God. There is a God. Let me back up. There is a God, and you don't serve Him. There is a God, and you do serve Him. There isn't a God, and you don't serve Him. There isn't a God, and you try to serve that person who, imaginary. Some people imaginary. So if there is a God, and you serve God, you're the big winner. If there is a God, and you don't serve God, you're in a heap of trouble. If there is no God, and you don't serve God, not a big deal. You're just, going on your hedonistic way. There is no God, and you serve God anyway, then you live a nice, pure life. So you still, so it's an interesting way. He's famous for this, Pascal's wager, it's called. So you come out winning either way. Even they found that people that live in low areas in the city, people that do believe in God or serving God, they're living a nicer life than the people who are just hedonistic and doing all kinds of sinful activity. They just live a brighter life. So interesting. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Mars. That was good. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki